Just started reading the Bible for the first time. How much truth do you think is in that text? Because I hear mixed things. People say it's been rewritten and all this stuff. How do you, what's your approach with the Bible yourself?
That's a good question, Sean. Well, the original Bible were taken from an old ancient manuscript that actually existed during the times of Atlantis, known as the Emerald Records, or the CDT plates, the Chlora Dora tablets. And I believe it was a gentleman, or let's just call him an Anunnaki.
Mhm.
He was an extraterrestrial by the name of Thoth that hijacked those records. And of course, a lot of the Old Testament information was drawn from the ancient Sumerian tablets, like the Enuma Elish, when it describes the creation of men, let us make man in our image, the flood, and all that stuff. But the original Bible goes back to the Emerald Records. And I believe we don't have access to those records. So, yeah, there was some information that was taken from those records, and then there was some information that was taken from the Sumerian tablets, the cuneiform writings from the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and those were consolidated in what we call today the Bible. But originally, the Bible was also written as a metaphor, written on different levels of understanding. So, was it revised and modified? Of course, multiple times. The Council of Nicaea, which was the reorganization of the Roman Empire into what we call today the Catholic Church. By the way, Rome never fell. They just kind of, took off their Caesar togas and put on religious robes and continued the same agenda that they were trying to do during the times of the Roman Empire, but under a new guise. What they did is they heavily edited the Bible. They took out about 700 books.
Wow.
Like the book of knowledge, the keys of Enoch, as they call it. No, I'm sorry, the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch, the Apocrypha, and about 700 other books. And then they only accepted the books that they were able to use to control the population. So yeah, the Bible was heavily modified.
Wow.
It's been revised, but at the same time, there was a lot of knowledge left behind in the Bible, but as a metaphor. So when you read the Bible, you have to go beyond its literacy to really understand what these metaphors are trying to convey.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how big religion has grown, man. Billions of people now. Like, it's unheard of, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, we're also seeing a huge decline in organized religion because more people are waking up, more people are going within, and they're becoming spiritual. And that's what's rising right now. And that's what's part of what we call the Great Awakening.
How many people you think need to, do you think we'll need billions of people to fully awaken?
Well, according to the Maharishi effect, it only takes 10% of the population to create what is called a massive critical shift. And what that means is, I don't know if you ever heard of the 100 monkey syndrome effect.
No.
What that is, it's the idea that all humans are connected via an organic mind hive, which means that if 10% of the population decides to wake up from their programming and have this spiritual awakening, it would automatically shift the entire consciousness into this new paradigm.
Wow.
That's what that means.
10%.
We only need 10%. And right now, we're about 7%. So we are heading there. So, things are speeding up. There was this phenomenon known as time acceleration, where, we are approaching what is known as 0 point energy or 0 point field, which means that we are at the cusp of ages between the ending of the Kali Yuga, which is what the Indians call the ending of the Dark Age, and about to begin the Golden Age. So that explains why things are about to hit a critical mass point where, it's going to cost a shift for the entire planet to literally understand what's been happening.
Interesting. Last time you came on the show, you went super viral saying there's 3 Elon Musks.
I did.
And
I
then
noticed that went really viral.
Yeah, shortly after that, Elon had a falling out with Trump. Do you know which version of Elon that was?
Well, believe it or not, the good Elon, which is the third Elon, not the cyborg Elon. The third Elon is known as Elon 2.0, which was, again, an Elon that was developed in a petri dish by the Alliance. Well, back then, Space Force was known as Solar Warden. So this Elon is actually still a good Elon, and this whole fallout with Trump is a distraction to distract the deep state, to make them think that they are not losing.
Wow.
Right? So it's a maneuver. It's very similar to WrestleMania. It's wrestling is fake. You have the main event, and then at the end of the fight, these guys go and have dinner together.
Right.
They're not really true enemies. Well, that's what's happening right now. And the Y hats call that Project Veilfire, which is to make the enemy believe that these two prominent figures, right, Musk and Trump, are actually at odds when in reality they're just playing the game. So they're really not enemies. This is just all for show.
That's some 5D chess right there.
Yeah, that's what they call it, 5D chess. Exactly.
Holy crap! So it's all for play because a lot of people think it's real beef. So that's really interesting to me.
And they're buying the bait. That's when people have to have discernment. But of course, this is designed to confuse the deep state.
Are there also multiple versions of Trump?
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, I'm so glad you asked that question because, I get a lot of people asking me, well, if Trump is part of the alliance, why the heck did he roll out, Project Warp Speed, which is the implementation of the vaccine, and that's not a good thing.
Right.
Well, that was the negative Trump. So it turns out that you have the original Trump who is operating in a base located in Cheyenne Mountain.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.
And he's always there. That's the original Trump. And then you have his actor double that looks just like him. I believe he's wearing a mask. He talks just like him. As you know, there are many interpretations or people are trying to mimic his voice, but this guy really, acts like Trump. That is the double. That is the Trump that we see in the White House. That is the Trump that we see on the press. And then you have a third Trump who is there in case the double takes taken out. As you know, there's been multiple assassination attempts. Just recently, we heard in the news that even the Iranian government tried taking them out.
Right.
That's all part of another agenda to initiate the Third World War. So going back to your question, now the fourth Trump, that is the negative Trump. That is the Trump that was generated by the negative AI, that is already sentient, that is already in control of the world's satellite systems, infrastructures. And that Trump is the one that was pushing Project Warp Speed. That is the Trump that talks about Project Stargate, which is the advancement of AI to the level of super AI, and in the implementation of massive data centers beginning in Texas. That is the Trump that is pushing the biometrics, which will lead to a technocratic digital surveillance. So we have to have discernment. That is the negative Trump that is working with the negative AI. The real Trump is actually working with the alliance. So yeah, there are multiple Trumps, just like there are multiple Elons.
I've also seen theories about Barron Trump, how he's a time traveler.
I just covered that on my podcast last night. So interesting that you bring that up. And that is correct. There have been 2 books that were written in the late 1800s where they show that Barron actually went back to 1881 or 1889, I believe. And how that happened was Nikola Tesla actually perfected time travel 10 years before the military-industrial complex did through Project Montauk and, of course, the Philadelphia experiment and Project Pegasus. So you could say that Nikola Tesla was part of the alliance. He is actually an extraterrestrial in human form. He decided to project part of his consciousness into a human vessel. He's an Arcturian. That's why he is, he was a Marverick scientist and engineer. And he was the first one to develop time travel in our world, before the Cabal did in the 1950s. And so what Nikola Tesla did is he joined forces with John Trump, who was an MIT professor, also a genius scientist, who is Trump's uncle. And they were able to use that technology to time travel not only into the future, but into the past in order to beat the Cabal on every probable reality. And that explains why our planet is scheduled to be liberated because of the fact that the time travel technology was developed by Nikola Tesla. And this is what I call the triple temporal alliance. And what that means is that they are actually operating from the future, believe it or not. And they're also operating from the past. They actually time traveled 2,000 years ago to write a second book that was going to parallel the book Revelation, which was known as the Book of Q. And then the Book of Q, the reason they don't release that book is because that is a blueprint for the White Hats in order to make sure that they're always 3 to 4 steps ahead of the Cabal. So in that book, the Book of Q, everything that is now unfolding in our times is being detailed in that book. So that book's not going to be released until, of course, they defeat the Cabal and initiate the golden age. And from what I've come to understand is that Barron Trump is also a human Pleiadian, which is an extraterrestrial hybrid,
Mhm.
who comes from the future, by the way, and is here to play a key role once the Earth is liberated from the Cabal as a starseed in collaboration with other starseeds. It is believed that Barron Trump is going to be a leader in the New World.
Very interesting, because he's never done an interview. He's never talked publicly, so he's like a mystery, right?
Yeah, he's a secret. He's a hidden, you could say, genius. He doesn't really say much, but he's got a lot of knowledge because of his time traveling experience. And also, in the tale of Barron being a time travel, the person who was assisting him that came to visit him to go to to different time coordinates in the past and in the future to secure the positive timelines. He went by the name of Dawn. And according to Commander Valiant Thor, who is a liaison between the human Earth Y-Hat team and the Galactic Alliance, it is believed that this mysterious figure that was actually not only the tutor of Barron Trump, but allowing him to go to different time coordinates, both in the future and in the past, was actually no other than Nikola Tesla.
No way.
Yeah, so Nikola Tesla, therefore, according to this revelation, faked his death.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
He faked his
crazy.
death. So he's still alive.
Right now?
Mm-hmm. Of course, he's probably about over 100 years old, but he's still alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.